Afternoon. So today I will talk about the ninth and last of the similes mentioned by the Buddha in the verse from the Vajra Sutra. So this one is clouds. So as I mentioned last time, the last three similes in this list of nine illustrate the three times, past, present, and future. So past phenomena are said to be like dreams. All that's left of our past experiences are just memories, which are just appearances in our mind, similar to dreams. Present phenomena are like lightning. They appear and disappear quickly before we have a chance to really grab onto them. And future phenomena are said to be like clouds. So there's actually lots of discussion about these three times, past, present, and future, in Buddhist philosophy, where different schools make different assertions as to how they exist, whether they're permanent or impermanent, whether they can perform functions or not. And to be honest, I've always found this topic kind of mind-boggling. Just like, yeah, very difficult to understand. But anyway, they're too complicated to go into here. So I will just share what the commentaries say about this particular simile, how clouds are similar to future phenomena. So future things are results. They are results of causes and conditions. They are things that are not yet come. So the word for future in Tibetan is maungpa, which literally means not come. Things that haven't yet come, haven't yet arisen. So examples are tomorrow. Today is Thursday, 25th of June. So tomorrow is Friday, 26th of June. So tomorrow, where is tomorrow? Hasn't come yet. We tend to think that it's going to come. We make plans, Probably everybody has their diary full of meetings and outings and work they're going to do and so on and so forth. Someone's planning to cook lunch tomorrow. So we have all these ideas about tomorrow and about ourself existing tomorrow and what I am going to do tomorrow and so on and so forth, as if it's real. So it's quite interesting to think about the future and how we relate to the future. And likewise, this weekend, and then 4th of July is coming up. I heard some kids are already shooting off fireworks. Can't wait. People are probably planning picnics, although maybe with masks on and just in their own backyard. So anyway, the future. And then what will come later in the coming weeks, months, years, and eventually we will die. We don't like to think about that. We don't make plans for that. But Buddhism says we need to. It is important to prepare for that. And then future lives. Buddhism says death isn't the end, but there will be another life. And eventually, hopefully, if we practice well, we will get ourselves out of the whole circle of death and rebirth and reach liberation and enlightenment. So all that's in the future. But of course, we don't know for sure what will come in the coming days, weeks, and so forth, even if we make very careful plans, because it all depends on causes and conditions. And the main cause is our own karma. So what we do, what we say, what we think now are the main factors, the main causes that will determine what we will experience in the future. So how do clouds relate to the future? So Khyentse Jampa Tekchok in his book, Insight into Emptiness, says, due to causes and conditions, clouds form in the sky, and sometimes they cause rain, not always, like sometimes there's clouds but no rain. But there can never be rain without clouds. I think that's a pervasion. You can't have a cloudless sky and rain falling. That would be very strange. So it does sometimes happen for days, for weeks, for months. Clouds do not appear in the sky, rain doesn't fall, and that can be disastrous for farmers and also for the people who rely on farmers growing their crops. Such situations are known as drought, and in the worst cases, this can lead to famine. So clouds are very important for human survival. Most of the food we eat depends on them. So clouds form in the sky, and the sky is by nature clear, free of clouds. Clouds are not a permanent part of the sky. And even when clouds are there in the sky is still clear in the sense that clouds are adventitious. They only appear when you have the right causes and conditions. They're not permanent. They're not always there. And the clear nature of the sky really doesn't get changed when clouds come and go. So the sky allows clouds to form and drop rain and then move on and disappear. And as a result of the clouds and the rain, we have crops, trees, flowers, and the rivers and lakes and reservoirs get full, so we have water to drink. But through all of these processes, the nature of the sky remains the same, clear, spacious, unobstructed. So, Khyentse Rinpoche says, in a similar way, the nature of our mind is clear. The mind is compared to the sky. In a conventional sense, what that can mean is that it's not physical. Our mind isn't a physical thing made of atoms, molecules, and so on. So it's free of any kind of physical properties. Also, it's clear in the sense that it's not one with the thoughts and the emotions that come and go in our mind. They are adventitious, similar to the clouds. And on the ultimate level, the ultimate nature of the mind, the ultimate truth of the mind is that it's empty of inherent existence. It doesn't exist as something fixed, findable, something we can point to, put our finger on and say, that is the mind there. Permanent, independent of everything else. Instead, our mind is a stream of ever-changing, momentary mental events that arise and pass endlessly, continuously. And it's only in dependence on that stream of rising and passing mental events that we label mind or consciousness. So within the clear space of our minds, clouds of afflictions like ignorance, greed, hatred, and so forth can form. And these can motivate us to do actions or create karma, which in turn lead us to experience various results in the future within samsara. So I guess that's the connection between clouds and the future. Yeah. Just as clouds lead to future results in terms of crops and so forth, the clouds of mental states arising in our mind lead to future results in terms of our experience. So some of these results are painful, like getting sick, having economic hardship, being mistreated by other people, and so on. But some are pleasant, being healthy, having a long life, being treated kindly by others, and so forth. So just as with clouds forming in the sky, rain falling, crops and trees growing, and so forth, the process of afflictions arising in our mind, motivating us to create karma that will in turn lead to results that we will experience in the future, all of this is interdependent. So all of these things, both in the external world and in the internal world, depend on many different factors: causes, conditions, parts, and mental labeling, conceptual labeling. So none of these things exist inherently or independently. And that's a good thing, because it means it's possible for us to bring about changes. If our mind and the clouds in our mind were inherently existing, there's nothing we could do to change our mind, to transform our mind, to free our minds from confusion and suffering. So fortunately, this is not the case. If we engage in Dharma study and Dharma practice, which explain how to free ourselves from samsara, then in our minds will arise the clouds of wisdom and compassion and other positive qualities. And these will bring the crops of genuine happiness and the realizations we need to progress along the path, eventually reaching nirvana and full awakening. So I also got some teachings on this verse from Yangtze Rinpoche, once in Deer Park many years ago. And so I'll just share what he said about this simile. He said, rain cannot fall from mere empty space. But when clouds and so forth come together, rain can fall and ripen and result in crops. Like that, relatively existing, the clear nature of our mind itself doesn't have any ability to go to nirvana or samsara, but due to causes and conditions coming together, we can have the result of either karmic rebirth in samsara or liberation from samsara. Usually we put one label on all these causes and conditions together, but in reality it's not like that. On the background of many causes and conditions, we impute samsara or nirvana, but these are so many negative or positive causes and conditions that came together to create samsara or nirvana. There is no truly existing nirvana or samsara, no truly existing future rebirth. So finally, I'd just like to mention, we were going through the library books the other day. We found this book. I'd never seen it before. It's called 12 Examples of Illusion. The author is, I think is Jan Westerhoff. He's a philosopher, both Western and Buddhist. And so I haven't had time to read it, but he goes through 12 of these similes that are found in the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. He doesn't mention clouds, but lightning, bubbles, optical illusions, dreams. So some of the things that come in this verse from the Diamond Cutter Sutra. And he's apparently talking about them, not just from the Buddhist point of view, but also including contemporary philosophy, cognitive science, as well as the history of science, and so on and so forth. So I just thought to mention that if anyone is interested and has time to read. So this is in the library in the philosophy section. I'd be interested to read it myself one of these days. So there's a lot to think about in this verse, and maybe one or more of these similes really grabs you. And if so, you can, take that one and contemplate it and try to understand it more deeply. What was the Buddha trying to say with this? And how can this help me to understand emptiness? And in that way, be less likely to grasp at things as inherently independently existing, which can lead to so many problems for ourselves and others. And at least loosen that grasp on things and see things in a more, illusory-like way. Thank you.